I'm never gonna get this done. Why did I agree to this? Oh well, can't get anywhere. Look, bud, I don't know what you're doing here, but conventions aren't going to be around for a while. Although I will, give credit. Very nice cosplay. So, I guess I'll just... No, I'm sorry, I have other games to do. I can't just take a sidetrack. Alright. I guess we're doing this. Happy 5-year anniversary.
Over the decades, many pop culture icons have continued to strive. Transformers, Pokemon, Power Rangers, you name it. One of those icons just happens to be the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Ever since the 80s, many interpretations have come and gone, in movies, TV shows, and of course, video games. And lots of merchandise. Konami with the arcade games, Ubisoft with the CG movie, and more recently, the licensed game machine, Activision.
Oh, please. I have no soul.
Most TMNT games focus on action, whether in a hack-and-slash format or a beat-em-up. Well, when the king of beat-em-ups themselves, Platinum, announced they were developing a new TMNT game, people were understandably hyped.
Though it had a couple blunders, Platinum Games had an amazing track record, with titles like Bayonetta, The Wonderful 101, and... oh yeah, they did develop that game. The adrenaline was at an all-time high. The game came out, and years later, we still don't have a new TMNT game for consoles.
When Mutants in Manhattan came out, I played it all the time. But now that I have a more critical eye, and seeing as how this is the last console TMNT game, at least of this video, it was about time I figured out why this was the case. It didn't take long for me to find out.
Okay, before rushing into the negative, we should take time to appreciate the positives. One of them is the character designs. Almost all of them. While the Turtles look more like a polished version of Out of the Shadows, the boss designs are great. The game takes visual inspiration from the IDW comics, and it shows, my favorite design being Shredder. For how short you see him, he stands out in the best way possible. The levels themselves look good too, popping right out of the pages of the comics. Visually, the game does its job well, but other parts aren't as fortunate. Not to discredit the voice talent, who all do a good job. When I first played the game, I thought they brought the cast of the Viacom Turtles for the heroes in a half shell. That's not the case, but they all play their part well. Same goes for the support and antagonists. Though my biggest question is why Nolan North played not only Leonardo, but Splinter and Shredder. Next thing you know, you'll have Leo in Uncharted. Yeah. Wow. In due time. In due time. And as for the music, usually a memorable part of a Turtle game, it's okay. It fits the mood most of the time, with a few tracks standing out like the final 2 boss themes. Nothing stand out, but nothing bad either. And it really shows because no matter how hard you look on YouTube, barely any music from this game is in a video. I think that's a dark sign of what's to come.
That just leaves the game itself, and... be ready.
If you played a Platinum game before, some of the concepts of Mutants in Manhattan you'll be familiar with. You battle enemies and complete missions on your way to the boss, getting graded along the way, the best rank being S. You have a light attack and a heavy attack to chain basic combos, and from there a mashup of ideas overflow the sewer system that is this game. Levels are either open space areas or linear hallways, with some branching pathways connecting each other. You'll find the mission or battle, complete it, and press on to the next one, rinse and repeat. That's really it. Sure, missions can vary from defusing bombs, escorting objects, defeating the enemies, or hacking terminals, but these missions are repeated throughout the entire game, to a point you'll sigh the next time a bomb needs to be taken care of.
While this style is nothing new for Platinum, the way it's integrated here is off-putting. It could have worked, but trust me when I say, we barely scratched the surface.
Scattered in the levels are gems. Collecting them earns you extra currency as well as in-game items, pizza for extra health, drinks to temporarily boost the stat, and weapons to assist you in battle. The only item you'll need is the pizza in case you need to heal. You can easily ignore the items unless you want an easier time battling enemies, or if you dare go up in difficulty. You also have throwing stars as a projectile move, but I only really use them for bomb enemies and the laser barriers, since otherwise they deal minimal damage. Now to find the missions, since you don't have a radar, the game makes you use a T-glass, or Turtle Detective mode. It spots enemies and objectives, so in case you get lost, they want you to use this to find your way. While I groan that yet another game uses a detective mode clone, it has its purposes and it does it fairly well. A better alternative than...
I'm picking up a new reading. I intercepted some enemy comms and it sounds like they're planning something big. Sending the location now. Guys, I intercepted the enemy's comms. It sounds like they're about to destroy something. See if you can stop them. I'm picking up a huge swarm of bad guys. Be careful out there. The enemy's got some kind of dangerous weapon. You've got to take it away from them. Sending location now.
Life can be strange, can it, folks? Wink, 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 wink.
Blink, 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 blinkity, blink, blink, blink.
Then again, it's not like your sensei is of better help. When you find manhole covers, you can go home to Splinter, where he sells you items, not for free, no, for your currency.
I have a few issues with this.
Why Splinter? He's your father, your sensei. You think he would want to help in any way, but no. He just needs to offer you items, which can be useful in your quest to save the city, for a price. If it was anyone else, it might be okay, but Splinter? Really? This doesn't sit well with me.
Speaking of, but... where's everybody else?
Throughout the game, there are many references to other characters, like Casey Jones, Rat King, and so on. Not to say the lineup they have is bad, on the contrary. Armagon and Wingnut getting screen time is awesome. It just dives into something I'll get into when we talk about bosses. Speaking of, the currency isn't just for items. They also go towards your special moves. You bring 4 equipped moves every stage, from powerful attacks to beneficial boosts. They can also level up using your currency when your player level increases to decrease its cooldown time. You'll probably end up using Combo the most since when together, create unique attacks depending on who activated it. Some have their uses, others not. It's up to you to decide should you go the extra distance. You might not. It's against tougher foes, you'll figure that out, and some of these mooks take a lot to take down. The rock soldiers especially, and don't even get me started on the crane droids! And they throw so many at you, which normally isn't a problem in a Platinum game, but they somehow messed up your health system! You may have noticed your health is represented by pizza slices. Aesthetically, it makes sense. But only aesthetically. You gain health over time, depending on the battle points you collect, and all that precious health you collected resets after every stage, right back down to the 2 pies you started with. And I'm sure you see how ridiculous that is. In other Platinum games, heck, any other game, once you gain health, it stays with you and continues to grow. So why the sudden change? Oh yeah, multiplayer was a thing. Playing the game, you'll immediately notice the game wants you to play with friends. From how the missions are structured, to certain dialogue from April, and the results screen giving bonuses to certain characters. It could have worked, especially with the Turtles Pass with co-op. Too bad multiplayer is exclusively online. Oops. Heck, there were DLC costumes too, but after the game was delisted from stores, the costumes went with it, less than a year after its release. Although, real talk, looking at the costumes, I don't think we missed that much.
But if there's anything that shows the co-op-centered focus on this game, it's the bosses.
Do me a favor. Look at this boss. Tell me if you notice anything off. You don't need to. Look at that health! Depending on your difficulty, bosses have a certain amount of health bars. Easy is 5, normal is 7, hard is 9, and no way in shell. The bosses boil down to damage sponge bosses, who rarely stagger, and most of them are a drag to fight. Some of them have cool concepts like Armagon and Krang, but then you have Wingna who can burn a Dimension X. Most of the bosses are sadly not fun to fight, either an obstacle or a roadblock, not counting their pinch modes when low on health.
But it gets better.
The 6th stage is exclusively a boss rush, meaning you have to fight every previous boss again, as if the first time wasn't interesting enough.
But it gets better.
On the results screen, you'll see a secret boss section. Your mind goes, awesome! This is where we'll see more characters. Metalhead, Rat King, Stockman. The same bosses mashed together. What?! Aside from one time, every secret boss is a rehash of bosses in the game. That means, aside from one boss, every single boss is fought 3 times total. Then again, getting secret bosses is cryptic in itself. I'm not sure if it's based on your score or what, but it's random if you get a secret boss. It's basically what it boils down to. And, should you fail that secret boss, you'll have to finish the stage and play the same stage again just for a shot at the secret boss. Because believe it or not, if you lose, there's a good chance that boss will never come back. No, thank you. I'm sure you see why I rarely went for them.
Except for one boss. Arguably the best boss in the game. Got my breath.
The final stage pits you against Shredder, in arguably the best boss fight he ever had. You fight him on a floating helipad, warping around a portal set to destruct and decimate the city, already in flames, set to the best boss theme he's had yet. Hallelujah! This is the Platinum Boss! And should you get the secret boss, he upgrades to a form not seen in over 2 decades. Super Shredder. The BA design, ramped up attacks, and triumphant music. Oh, why weren't all the bosses like this? I can even buy the low staggering. It's Shredder, the most powerful ninja on the planet. Somehow it works, and yet I hate how it's only right at the end. The hype goes through the roof. Why?
It sounds like I'm just rambling off points one by one, but it's only because this game frustrates me so much. It's hard to believe this game just leaves you feeling disappointed.
I wanted to love this game. It's a TMNT game, with a nice presentation, and all the elements of a great Platinum game, but it's convoluted, repetitive, frustrating at times. It just doesn't add up. To further prove the point, the only collectible in the game are comics. and only the cover art of the comics. It seems cool at first, but compared to other titles, it's the weakest collectible. What hurts more is that the year prior, Platinum also released Transformers Devastation, a game thriving in its source material, with fun mechanics, interesting bosses, a more structured progression system, worthwhile collectibles, and challenges to extend gameplay time. It's night and day comparing these two games. Not that Mutants in Manhattan didn't respect the source material. What's here is cool, but it's a game first and must be judged as such. Mutants in Manhattan is often considered the weakest Platinum game, and my thought is no different. Is it the worst Turtle game? Hard to say, but I'm sure you won't find this in your favorite Turtles games lists. It's a shame to say that. I wanted this game to work out. We all did. But it appears it was never meant to be. Forgotten like so many other Turtles media.
Even if you're curious, I don't recommend Mutants in Manhattan. This game's better off in the sewers where it was made. It's a shame, but you can't win them all. I'm the PS2Man, and how long has that been there? A heart? You don't think? Nah. That would be too coincidental.
If there is ever a TMNT marathon, I am not playing Mutants in Manhattan for it. Not again. But in any case, I hope all of you have enjoyed this review of Mutants in Manhattan. I did promise a Switch game up next, due to a little teaser at the end of the last review, but I need a little more time to make sure that video is set, that I can truly get into editing it and making sure it's the best content that I can. So, apologies for that, I do need a little time. With that said, I do have other projects in the works, so I hope you look forward to those. And as always, please stay safe, take care, and I'll see you later.